I am Street Sweeper, and welcome to Middle America Politics. I am here with my co-host Sam Fisher, and we're figured we needed to record something on this week of dramatic political drama in America. What are your thoughts, Sam?
Well, my first thought is it's been a while since we've talked. Actually, the last time we talked, I think Trump had just got what's the guy's name in New York? Alvin, whatever his
Oh,
name is, the
brag, yeah,
prosecutor
yeah.
Bragg
Mm-hmm.
had just had brought charges, or was he indicted? I can't remember, but and so that's been a couple months. So fast forward to June, and here we are. 37 counts on a federal indictment. It's not a position that I think I'd want to be in. Usually, when federal charges are brought, you know, 90% of the time, as Jeff Fortenberry found out, about 90% of the time, they're going to stick in some way.
They've got the goods
Um,
on you. That's why they bring them.
and so it's been interesting. It's Trump is a phenomenon to me. He continues to enjoy really good support among the Republican electorate. He is a front runner in the primary right now by a mile. I mean, I'm not reading too much in those numbers. Numbers can flip over time. Obviously, you and I have lived through that. But it's fascinating. I mean, my Republican Party and your Republican Party have dug in behind President Trump. 80% of Republicans believe that these charges, this indictment, this prosecution is what's the word they're using these days? Unjust, in the Department of Injustice. And so
80%, really? I didn't see that so
80%,
high.
yeah, I saw that or heard that, and I believe that. I think that you and I are kind of lonely people out here in the wind at the moment because I am not part of that 80%. Um, his defenses were interesting last night. I thought his speech last night was actually, um, I don't agree with half of it, but I thought it was pretty good. I mean, he fired up his base. He is playing magical misplacement of things. I mean, in the sense of he's saying, "Oh, look at over here. Let's look at Hillary Clinton, who used a hammer to destroy her BlackBerry, who used whitewashed these data tapes, et cetera, et cetera. How come she wasn't prosecuted?" And so those are all key points that I happen. Actually, those are points I agree with. However, when he has his former Attorney General Bill Barr, someone who was loyal to him and stuck with him right to the point where he lost me as well. um, he comes out and says that if half of this is true, he's toast. And I agree with that assessment. It's just been interesting to see. Here are my thoughts. I did write them down, and you can stop me at any point. But number
I'll let you go
one,
first, and then I'll go.
my first thought is he really needs an O.J. Simpson type jury, which ought to sting that crowd a little bit. He needs somebody who will absolutely nullify these charges,
Yeah, he
and
only
that's
needs one, right? You know,
right
he only needs one juror to nullify it
to nullify
in a
it. And
criminal
so
case.
that I would imagine that they are looking at that. He's basically our entire party is nullifying some of these things. Um, Number two wrongs have never made a right. It's something that you and I were probably both taught as children. Um, Two wrongs are never a right, and so I don't I don't subscribe to this. Well, you know, Hillary wasn't prosecuted. Hunter hasn't been prosecuted. Yeah, just because it's wrong doesn't exclude you from being prosecuted. Is it unfair? We talked about that last podcast. Yes, it's unfair. and that's why our people are angry. They're tired of being the unfairness, the double standard stuff. He calls it a witch hunt, and so you know what I did the other day is I actually looked up the word witch, and a witch is basically Donald Trump, someone who thinks that has these magical, mystical powers to do evil. And now people, I'm going to get backlash that he does evil, but he is a narcissistic witch. And so my thought is on the witch hunt thing is don't act like a witch and it won't be a witch hunt. It's just simple stuff. There is no doubt in my mind that where he got himself in trouble is when he got cutesy and decided, well, hey, we'll just withhold this or we'll destroy that or we just won't, what if we just tell them that we don't have it? And it's like, that doesn't work with the feds. So those are my initial thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think on all of that, and my thoughts are on the first on the. I think there's two sides. There's the legal side and the political side. On the legal side, he had at least two opportunities, I believe, when they said
Multiple.
here's our list of stuff that you have that you shouldn't have. And so he said, okay, he gave, I don't know what, like a third of it back or something like that. And they said,
not on the first ask. They didn't.
Well,
it took several asks. There was a timeline I read.
Then it was, we know you've got all this stuff. You need to give it back. And then he hid it and he had asked his lawyers to hide it or destroy it. And then,
but Jerry, it's his papers. That's the other argument. Those are my papers.
So, and so,
Department of Defense
and then
papers
so
are
they
not.
said, okay, we're coming to get it then. And he was sitting right out and they got it. I mean, it's like, it's so dumb.
It's dumb and foolhardy.
Most of the commentators, the Republican commentators are like, why was he so stupid? Why would he? They knew he had it. He knew they had it. He knew that they knew that he had it. And yet he still got caught with it. It's like, why was he so dumb? And that is the one I've seen. I want to say it's by, I forget the commentator who came up with the theory, but it's the my boxes theory. It's Trump said, these are my boxes. They were my boxes in the White House, and I brought them to my new home in Florida, and they're my boxes. And everybody's like, no, they're not. They're not your boxes. There's laws,
his supporters believe that, but his supporters believe that.
Well,
and it's like you have to understand when you have, but when you have legal documents that are documents that are giving war plans out, and you're waving it around in the air. I mean, on the last podcast I asked you, Jerry, do you think like it might be a problem for national security if you can be bribed by a porn star? Jerry, do you think it might be a problem if he's like sharing national secrets about how we're going to attack a foreign country? Everyone has lost their freaking head, and I think that's where Congressman Bacon is coming from. He's a brigadier general, and he's I guarantee it.
Let's wait to get to it.
Right.
No, so here's my other two. Is that, like I said, one, it's the how could he be so stupid, and it's the my boxes theory. Two, on the and I think you really covered it on the Hillary point. He's trying to say, well, Hillary did it and they didn't prosecute her. It's like, there's nothing to do with anything. And it might have been an argument before they indicted him. It might have, been, it could have gone against the new independent counsel or independent prosecutor to say, yeah, he's right. They didn't go after Hillary. Maybe won't. But once they indicted him, that argument goes out the window because it has nothing to do with anything at that point. He's just trying, that's a purely political.
His supporters all put it in this,
but it's no legal argument. And then I was, I don't know what was going to be my last point was, so in his speech yesterday, he was saying, well, I had the legal authority under the Presidential Record Acts to bring all this stuff with me. And so therefore I'm innocent. And a couple of commentators I was listening to today said he may have just screwed himself by he admitted that he took it. And this was his theory for taking it. Except they're not prosecuting him under the Presidential Records Act. They're prosecuting him under the Espionage Act for documents that he should never have, that aren't included in the Presidential Records Act. So by making that speech, trying to give that as one of his legal defenses, he may have just sunk himself even, probably already sunk, but sunk himself even further with that admission.
Ladies and gentlemen, three of his lawyers already resigned immediately.
Yeah, right.
I mean, how would you like to be a lawyer for that guy? Okay, I'm going to tell you something now. Here's my counsel to you, but we don't expect you to follow any of it. Just do the opposite of what I say. That's what Trump is a client. It would be a nightmare.
With his lawyers too, he's got a history of not paying. And so any lawyer that's going to and say, give me $10 million up front, $5 million up front.
Yeah.
And then I'll represent you. And if we
absolutely
win, $10 million.
Yeah, he doesn't pay his lawyers. He doesn't pay them. Yeah. So, and you think he's going to freaking pay for the legal defense of that poor naval steward that he had? I mean, hell no. That guy's screwed. He's done. I mean, put a fork in him. He'll be broke forever and he'll never get another job. I mean, hey. But what a mess.
So like I said, that's really the legal side of it. And the political side of it, I don't know. It's like you said, it's like people are still, they think it's unfair because of Hillary. And it's like,
I can tell you about the political side of it. What they're saying will tell you the political side of it. His opponents, what they're saying.
Hillary,
Yeah. Well, that's what they're saying. They're not saying that Trump is an idiot for doing any of this. They're saying it's the department. They're saying that what are they saying? Injustice and all these terms, the weaponization of the DOJ. Of the judicial department DOJ. And all DOJ and all those things are clearly those are tested things in a survey, and so that's why his opponents are saying it. Now, Nikki Haley. So now the big trap question for these opponents are: well, will you pardon Donald Trump if he gets convicted?
I think that's a maybe question. It's sort of like what Ford did with Nixon. Nobody agreed with what Nixon did, but Ford was like, we can't have Nixon
behind us
in prison. And maybe it sunk Ford, but wasn't necessarily the wrong thing to do. You could say that. I think one of his GOP opponents could definitely say that and say, I think what he did is absolutely wrong. Should he be in jail for it? Maybe house arrest, but he shouldn't be in prison or something like that. I think that, that's a possibility. I think it's a real possibility. But but politically, at some point they got to just say, they got to stop playing footsie with it. I don't get it.
Well, that's the numbers right now, man. His numbers are so strong. They're so strong. So you either got to be courageous or you're going to have to play the political game. I don't know. It's
I think
fun to watch
at some point and be, because do they want to win or not? Because if they want to win, they got to attack him. If they don't, then they have fun being an also-ran again. So,
yep.
So here's an interesting side of all of this is the Nebraska side of it. And so, the current GOP is kind of run by Charles Herbster, he once said if he becomes between Nebraska and Trump, he's with Trump.
I would disagree that it's run by Charles Herbster, for the record. I don't know if that's the case. It's run by a coalition of people that were angry at Pete Ricketts, and Herbster certainly is in that mold.
Okay. Well, so in the second district, you've got Don Bacon, who's been the most vocal, arguably the most vocal Republican in the country against Trump. He was saying, hey, what he did was wrong. There's nothing you can say about it. The emperor has no clothes. He shouldn't have done it. And, period, end of story. and he's getting quoted nationally because he's one of the few that's done it. And then they also note that he's in a swing district. But
So,
the one thing I will say about
let
Bacon,
me
though,
let me ask you a question that you're probably going to, and that is, do you think Don Bacon is saying that for political reasons, or do you think Don Bacon is saying that because he's a man of integrity? And I got to lean to this latter. I really do.
both. I'm going with both
Yeah.
because I know he feels
Well,
that way, and he knows it.
it's it's
As a former
tricky. It's
general,
tricky.
he knows it, and he's got as a former general, it's easier for him to say it than others. I think, for one, and I think I think it's a smart political move. And number three, though, that
We'll
he never
see.
backs down from is sticking to his Republican talking points. He's like, hey, Republicans are for the rule of law, and this is law. Republicans are for, and then and he hits all of his other conservative points, but feels free to hit out at Trump. I think it works in the second district. I think people feel that way. They want a conservative, but they don't want a nut. And by knocking him out,
he's
I think it
probably
makes
going to
him
get
more salient.
primaried. He's probably going to get primaried.
That's the question, right? Who? Any idea?
It doesn't really matter. Somebody's pro-Trump. I mean, does it matter?
Just anybody, right?
Yeah, yeah. I
Vinny,
mean, it
Vinny
just
Palermo.
creates. There you go. There you go. Shine, Vinny, shine. Yeah. So I don't know. Honestly, it's been kind of refreshing that somebody stood up. I mean, I have a question too that I
Super
tweeted out the other
refreshing,
day.
right? Finally, to
Well,
hear
yes,
someone other than the pundits that I listen to.
yeah.
I listen to National Review and the Dispatch. All those guys are, they're none of them are for Trump, and and then you look at the members of Congress and Senate and everything else, and let's get one of them to get a backbone.
But how many people are actually endorsed? How many members of Congress or governors have endorsed Donald J. Trump? Do you
I
know?
don't
I don't
know.
know.
That's a good
There's got to be a
question.
list somewhere. I know
Mm-hmm.
Lindsey Graham has, which surprises the
Right,
hell out of me.
right.
And
Lindsey
he's
Graham,
he disappointing.
super
Uh,
disappointing. It's like
yeah.
he can't string two logical sentences together, and he's a smart guy. He's trying to play both sides of everything politically, and he fails. He fails just over and over. But
Well,
what are you gonna do?
he's still there, so he's been reelected. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I know I saw the governor of Oklahoma endorsed DeSantis the other day. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, if I'm DeSantis, I guess we can talk about it in another podcast. But if DeSantis is the second closest to Trump right now, and from what I understand, the Republican donor base is with DeSantis. But if I'm DeSantis, I'm trying to pick off those guys, at least work on them, and just keep working on them. And I'm sure they are, because
I just hope it's not trying to be
something.
the
So
Ted Cruz
when's it going to go down? I mean,
lifetime.
right.
I mean,
Um,
the people that I listen to are saying that if Trump wins Iowa and New Hampshire, it's over. If he doesn't, then it's a whole different ball game. So how far is that off? 9 months.
Yeah, it's coming. And so the question also becomes, what is the timing of all these things? And we know the Bragg thing, the next hearing is in December. I don't know about this Jack Smith, deranged Jack Smith. I don't know when he's going to arrange for the
I've
trial
heard
date.
that it can't happen before the election. That is just the wheels of justice can't move that fast.
So we nominate Trump, say come March, April, and then he goes to trial in July or August about the convention time. Then what? I mean, what a mess. What a mess.
He'll lose. Well, that's the other thing too. He's not going to win. I don't care who they run against him. They can run Joe Biden's corpse, and Biden's corpse will win. That's the other thing, and
he's up. Allegedly, he's up right now.
If they,
well,
the Republicans need to know that he cannot win the general. He can't win it. He's not going to win it.
And the reason for that is, and I mean, I'm feel like I'm Ben Sass here. Um, but it's a different set of circumstances, completely different. But I mean, I don't
Mhm.
know if he's the nominee. I truly, and I'm screwing myself right now because I can't go to the county convention or anything else by having these thoughts. However, I don't know what I'm going to do if he is the nominee. I really don't
Yeah.
know.
Hey,
And
I was
so
going to say,
that's why he can't
we've
win,
been there
because he's
before,
lost
haven't we?
you and he's lost me. And if any asshole calls me a rhino, come to my front door. I've got a ring now, and I'll frickin' I'm a rhino. Give me a break. They're them and their rhino talk.
Listen,
Real quick.
you
The,
know,
the other
I mean,
day, the other day they posted this picture of Ron DeSantis riding on a rhinoceros. It's like,
don't say
who's
anything.
buying this shit? This guy, he said last night Bill Clinton was a friend of mine. He's a good guy. Well, you know how much money that guy gave to the Clintons? Like, stop this rhino crap based on Trump's definition. Give me a break. I've been around for freaking years.
It's a,
And I'm going to be, I was here way before Trump, and I'll be here way after Trump. Give me a
of
break,
course,
you and your damn
you know,
rhino
I mean,
talk.
and it's the Trump stuff is a cult. That's what I don't quite get. I mean,
It's
it's
a
a
cult of
weird ritual.
nullification. It's
And
unbelievable.
yeah, I don't understand it. All right, well,
However,
here's a
I do
question.
understand those supporters probably better than you do, just because I talk to a lot of them a lot of
Yeah.
times. But
All right,
we have
closing
interesting
question.
conversations.
Does Deb
Yes,
Fisher get primaried?
I honestly don't know. I think Pete is more likely to get primaried just because
Oh yeah,
Charles would be the
two
guy to.
races, right? Oh yeah, yeah. I
Right. So
forgot about
so
that.
I would
Both
think that Charles would more likely primary Pete.
uh-huh. Yep.
And I mean, as far as Charles obviously still got a little bit of money. I think he hasn't spent it all, but that's probably up for debate too. But I don't. I don't know. I mean, it's certainly possible. I think she was last time, wasn't she? By some lower level candidate. I don't
Yeah, by a summer,
see.
but
I
not
mean, there's
even
only so
realistic.
many
I mean,
things going on in
Herbster
Nebraska,
would
and I
be
don't. Herbster Ricketts, I can see. I don't see a major primary in her deal. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
No, I forgot. You know, I forgot that they were both up at the same time,
Yeah, two
and
Senate races.
I don't know. I don't know if he could beat Pete. Uh,
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so. But crazier things have happened.
yeah,
Remember,
right.
Herbster's
It's
big claim to fame is that him and Donald Trump. I mean, he was there last night. He tweeted about it. So, I mean, his claim to fame is, the Trump endorsement, and
yeah.
Pete
I
did
mean, I don't
everything in
know.
his
I suppose I
power to
think we're
try and
so
stop
far.
that, and it didn't work.
I will say this: is that, I mean, if he didn't get the allegations uh, from Julie Slamma, I think he would have won. I think he would have beat Pete. I think he would have beat Pillen. Um,
I don't.
you know, that can go either way.
I don't know. I haven't.
I think it
I
would have
don't know.
been. I think it would have been a much. I think it would have been much closer. Put it that way.
I think that's a fair
Um,
assessment. I think it's probably a
so,
fair assessment.
all
Yep.
right. You going to any of the College World Series games?
I am going to the Saturday afternoon game. I don't know what's playing. I know it's not LSU.
It's not
It's
LSU.
the
It's
game
the
before that.
it's Wake and Stanford,
Gotcha.
which will be a great game.
Yeah.
Boy, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what. Did you see?
I gotta go for
Did you see
Wake.
the end of the Wake Forest, or I mean, of the Stanford Texas game, where the guy just lost the ball in the lights?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it was one of the most tragic endings of a baseball game I've seen in my life.
I saw the aftermath of their players, but I didn't see what actually
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
He just
Yeah.
lost.
The
He never
College
saw
World
the ball.
Series. I mean,
Just
they,
dropped 8 feet in
whoever
front of him.
wins it, they sure as heck have earned the right to win it. You know what I mean? It's a lot of
Well,
fun.
yeah. So I'm an Ole Miss fan, and we
Of
rode
course
the
you
wave
are.
all through last year with my son's school, and bought the Jello shots at Rocco's. So we'll see
Yeah.
who wins it. That's really going to be the big race, is who wins at Rocco's.
Oh,
They should end it
LSU, no
after the
doubt
first
about it.
weekend too. They really should end it after the first weekend, after everybody's still there,
Why?
right? Because
Well,
they
money,
should
man. Come on.
just because that way everybody's fans are there. Because if you wait till
True.
the end, then it's only going to be whoever's waited out the longest. But they should
You're
have
only going to
like
sell that. You're only going to make
a
that much more profit off of shots, even
no,
though they're
I know it.
donating.
I'm just saying they should declare a different winner. And then
That's genius.
that's a winner for all at Rocco's. Man, they're donating money to the food kitchens, and they're just getting
Yep.
money hand over fist. It's like, what a deal! Whoever came up with that idea should get crowned emperor. But
Yep.
anyways,
Well,
all right,
good way to end it. Nonpartisan CWS talk. Good.
absolutely. I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it. I'm coming up. I'll be there for Friday's games. So
Fridays, not Saturday. Okay,
both.
cool.
Well, the whole
Oh,
weekend.
both. Okay, well, we'll maybe hook up Saturday.
Sounds
Cool.
good. All right.
Toodaloo, man.
Signing off. Talk to you later.
Yep.